Nagato. Got no father like I'm Naruto. Keep the blade on me, Ichigo. Who really wanna go toe for toe? GTR from Tokyo. Diamonds whipping up on the stove. Lucky man like a 4-leaf clove. Diamonds wanna go.
Hello everyone, this is Nagato's Avenger. Hope you guys are having an awesome day. For today, in episode 4 of my HEN series, I'll be showcasing on how to play PlayStation 2 games on HEN. This method does work with custom firmware systems as well, but I just want to stress that this is only for HEN users, and I want this whole web series to be based on HEN and not CFW, so people won't get mixed in between. But this does work with custom firmware as well. One thing I do want to state before we get into the nitty-gritty and all of the technical stuff in this video, I want to recommend that y'all guys please go ahead and follow my official playlist. I will have that in the link in the description below. So let's say if y'all guys are interested in this video and you have a HEN system or don't know how to set up HAN and HEN on your system, go ahead and watch through episode 1 and 2. There are full detailed guides on how to set that up, and then you could go ahead and follow either episode 3 on how to install PS3 games, or come back to this episode I'm recording now on how to install PlayStation 2 games on HEN. And I think it's a good idea that you guys watch this series that I created for you, since you'll have a better understanding on how to install packages, and you will have a generalization on the terminologies I will be using throughout this video. One thing I want to go ahead and state right now, please go ahead and follow my social media so you know the latest hacking guides and tutorials on my channel. My goal is to try to drop a video every single day, and the best way on how to know that is of course just subscribing to me and hitting that notification bell, and also following me on my Twitter, because that's where I usually drop my latest videos and stuff like that. I usually post my links up on there. And if you guys also want to be in the mix on where my update schedule, or you just want to get in contact with me, or even need help in terms of installing things, go ahead and join my official Discord. I will have a link in the description below. Either you could just type in the link right now in your URL bar, or just go in the little description under YouTube and just click on that. Not only do you meet new people from the hacking and modder scene, you could get the latest hacking guides and updates for your favorite consoles, and you will have access to useful homebrew links and download links for your respective consoles. So I do recommend go ahead and join my official Discord. If you do also want to support my channel in any shape or form, you can feel free to donate via my PayPal. Any of the money that I may receive will go straight back into my channel and help me buy things such as better software, recording software, maybe a better microphone, consoles, anything that will help me grow my channel so I can provide the best content for you guys. With all that fun stuff getting out the way, we could go ahead and get started on the prerequisites and things you'll need for this video. And anything that I state of course will be in a download description below, just like any of my other videos. So first things first, you need any PlayStation 3 system, so it doesn't matter if it's a fat, slim, or super slim. As well, you need to be on 4.84 firmware or lower. So as of right now, of August 15th 2019, Sony hasn't released a patch update for 4.85, but it's always good to stay on the lowest firmware possible, because anything could get patched at any time. As well, your systems needs to be having the latest HAN and HEN version installed for this process, so that's why I did recommend that y'all guys go ahead and watch episode 1 and also episode 2 for this process, so y'all guys will be on the same page and y'all have HAN and HEN successfully installed, so you guys could enjoy your system even more. And for this process, you need any compatible PlayStation 2 ISO. So I want to state right now, not all PS2 games will work with this process. There is a compatibility issue with certain titles, and I'll get a little bit more about that and how to see that if your game is compatible with this method. Of course, you need the PlayStation 2 Classic GUI 2.1.2.zip. This program will allow us from basically taking our ISO files and to encrypt them as PKGs, and that's the whole process. We basically going to take our ISOs and then just put them as PKGs onto our PS3s. If you had a custom firmware PS2, you could just dump the ISO itself into a certain folder and it will play. But HEN systems basically needs that extra step into converting those ISOs into encrypted files for PKGs. This is optional, but I think it will be pretty cool that y'all guys will do this as well. And I'll show you guys on how to put cover art or wallpaper. So how actual PlayStation 3 games, you'll see like if you click on your game, you have the GTA 5 little mini logo on your game on your XMB, and you'll see like the wallpaper. I'll show you guys on how to build your package so you have your cover art and box art for whatever PS2 title you have. Of course, you need a USB stick that is formatted to FAT32, and this is for, you know, transferring over you know, multi-man and all that fun stuff in the video, and as well as your PlayStation 2 PKG. Let's say if your PlayStation 2 PKG is, you know, higher in size, for example, you're gonna have to be using FileZilla FTP Client as showcased here. So for example, if your game is like Gran Turismo 4, for example, I think that game is 4 GB in size, you can't transfer that file over to a FAT32 USB drive, because any file that's over 4 GB of size for FAT32 won't be able to transfer over. That's why you will be having to use the FileZilla FTP client method on how to transfer your games, and I'll speak up more about that in the video. But if your game is like 2 or under 4 GB, you could go ahead and transfer it via with a FAT32 USB, which is the method I'm going to be showing today. One disclaimer I want to go ahead and cover, and it's about basically the PlayStation 2 Classic emulation compatibility list. As showcased on the screen, I will leave a website to a dev wiki, which basically is for the PlayStation 3, and it lists most of the PlayStation 2 games, not all of them, but most of the PS2 games that does work with this process. So all you would have to do is just go on that link, scroll for your game, see if it's playable or not. It will state like the 3 regions, so maybe the USA version may not work, but the Japanese version may work for your game. And if you know how to patch PS2 games, you could possibly, you know, get your game to work that way. Some other useful information plus tips I want to get over before we get started on the PC portion of this tutorial. As stated before, if your PS2 ISO is more than, you know, 4 GB in size, you can't basically transfer over to USB, and you'll have to use FileZilla FTP Client to transfer over your PKG, or basically the ISO that is packed into the PKG. And I'll showcase right now the directory you need to basically put your PlayStation 2 game PKG file will be under dev_hdd0 packages. And then if you don't have that folder under dev_hdd0, which is your hard drive, just make one either in FileZilla FTP Client or multi-man. It does seem like a lot of stuff I'm talking about right now, but I'll showcase it in the video. And as well, in terms of box art and cover art, since we're going to be doing that today, I do recommend either writing this down or just taking a picture on your phone. I recommend just going on Google, find your game of choice. In this video, I'm going to be doing Kingdom Hearts 2, and here are the dimensions when you have to basically set your icons for this. So basically the big wallpaper for your XMB has to be by 920 by 1080, but the little icon 0 PNG, or basically, you know how you look on XMB and you see the icons for your games in your games column, that's basically the icon 0 PNG, and it has to be formatted to 320 by 176 in dimensions in terms of size. With all that information and fun stuff getting out the way, I just want to give a special thanks out to the PlayStation 3 exploit dev team and anyone who has been working in terms of the HEN scene. With all that fun stuff, let's go ahead and get started on the PC portion of this tutorial. Alrighty guys, assuming that you did follow all the prerequisites as stated in the intro, what we're going to do is go ahead and I'm going to state each of the files, what I have here, and then I'm going to explain on all the steps of what we need to do on the PC side of things. So first things first, I have my game of choice, which is Kingdom Hearts 2. I've already verified that this is compatible for this process. As you remember in the intro, as I was stating, not all PlayStation 2 games work, so I do highly recommend to, you know, stop right now and not follow anything else until you make sure that your game is compatible, because it'll be a waste of time if you try a game and it's not compatible for this process and then you try to install it and it doesn't work. So look into the compatibility list. I will have, of course, a link in the description below. Find your game. If it's not compatible, then try another game. Basically get the game in an ISO format as shown here, put it on your desktop, and then assuming that you have a PlayStation 2 game that is you know, compatible, then we could get started on the rest of the stuff. So assuming that you verified your game is compatible, this is also optional and it's really not, it's just for, you know, the looks of things. We could get our, you know, icon and also our pick one PNG. So that's why I recommended just going on Google, find you know, pictures of your game, or, you know, some wallpaper and stuff like that, so you can have a clean look on your XMB. I have basically the Kingdom Hearts icon from here, and I also have the wallpaper I will use. And then of course here is where all the magic really happens, which is PS2 Classic GUI, and this allows us to convert our ISO or a game of choice into a PKG file. So what we need to do first is to extract this out with WinRAR. I will basically have a copy of WinRAR or a download to WinRAR if you don't already have that installed on your PC. And then as well, what we need to do once the game has fully extracted out, we need to put this into our C drive, because if we try to start the program up into our desktop and try to package our game, it won't work. So what we need to do now is go to our C drive. So if you don't know how to get to your C drive on your computer, all you would have to do is hit this desktop and then Windows C drive. So that's how simple it is. And then what we need to do now is take PS2 Classic GUI, copy it into here, and then let it do its thing. So while that is doing its thing, we're gonna go ahead and get started talking about the icon 0 PNG, and as well as the actual background wallpaper, since they got to be formatted into certain dimensions. So you can either do this with Photoshop or Paint. I'm just gonna do it with Photoshop, and I already had some of this stuff already copied over, so that's why it's just, you know, replacing some files over. But what we're going to do is open this up in Photoshop, or you could either do this in Paint in terms of like your pictures of choice. The only reason why I'm doing this in Photoshop, since this is a transparent picture and I want to keep this icon transparent, so all you would have to do is, if you have Photoshop, just open it with Photoshop. But if you're doing it with Paint, you can do the same thing with Paint. So I'm just going to go into Photoshop right now, get that booted up. And then once my picture of choice boots up onto the screen, we need to basically reformat it into a certain size. So right now we're going to go to File, and then we're going to go into, once it loads up, let me go ahead and, okay, so it's loaded up now. So basically what we need to do is go into New. And if you're using Photoshop, you could, you know, follow along. Same thing with Paint. We need to go ahead and make a custom, you know, template. So for our width, we need to go to, for the icon 0 PNG, we need to make it 320 to 176. You could leave everything else the same, like in terms of the resolution, RGB color, and just go ahead and hit create. And make sure the background is transparent. So this is what we're doing right now, and this is how the icon 0 should look like. So if you're in Photoshop, let me go ahead and get my file to transfer over to the side. We're just gonna go and drag our Kingdom Hearts icon here, and since it already centered us for the middle, I'm just gonna go ahead and hit enter, and then voila. All we need to do is just go ahead and hit File, Save As, go into this right here, and then make sure you save type as a PNG. And then we just need to label this as icon, let me label this icon 0.png and save. You can put it to the largest file size, it doesn't matter for that. And then I'm going to go back out. So as showcased here, if I go to the original file and go into properties and then detail, you see the dimensions is 1400 by 1024. And if I go into the icon 0 PNG, it's formatted into the, you know, right dimensions, so by 320 by 176 pixels in height. So we have that done. Next one we're going to do in once again just here, so we need to make this 920 by 1080. So I'm going to go back into Photoshop, go to the File, New, and then I'm just going to do 920 by 1080. I already have a template, but I'll show you guys on how to do it from here. So make sure it's 920 by 1080 pixels. Go ahead and hit create. Basically it should show the screen right here, and you want to take this file and then you can resize it on however you want to. So I'm just going to hold the shift key right here so you won't lose the like resolution, and then all you would have to do is, oh, let me go ahead and back out. You got to keep holding it so it won't, like, you know, change in size, and then hit enter. So voila, it's here at 920 by 1080. What we're going to do now is go ahead and just File, Save As, scroll all the way down, make sure it's on pic, or basically on PNG, and now we're going to label this as in all capital letters, pick one, and then save, and then you can just save this as a PNG. So our icon, if you could skip basically all of the steps as I stated before if you're doing the Photoshop method as showcased here, but now we basically have our icon of choice. So I could delete these two right here, and now we have our official icon, and we have pick one PNG. Let's just go ahead and verify the properties, and voila, we have our stuff ready. Now what we need to do is go into C drive, scroll all the way over to PS2 Classic GUI where we just dumped this at, and then what we need to do is go into PS2 Classic GUI .exe. Now what we need to do is go ahead and encrypt our image first, so make sure it's on the encryption tab and not the make PKG tab. So let me just back out, go to encrypt. What we need to do is go to our ISO right here and find it onto our desktop. So just find it wherever you have it located, if it's in your downloads folder or whatever, but here is Kingdom Hearts. I'm just going to go ahead and open it up, and then make sure if your game is over 1 GB in size is on DVD, and since we're doing this on HEN, do it to KEX. Leave everything the same here in terms of the K license and content ID, and just go ahead and hit encrypt. And now you should get a little toolbar right here stating that it's encrypting basically the file, and it's converting it into an iso.bin.enc file. So I'm going to pause the video via right now and then let it do the rest of its process, and then I'll tell you guys on the next step. Alrighty guys, assuming that you did follow all the prerequisites as stated in the intro, what we're going to do is go ahead and I'm going to state each of the files what I have here, and then I'm going to explain on all the steps of what we need to do on the PC side of things. So first things first, I have my game of choice, which is Kingdom Hearts 2. Once it's fully done, it'll say it's finished, and then hit OK. What we need to do first is to name this isobin.enc file. Let me just close this out. isobin.enc. We need to just rename it and just take off all the file extensions and just leave it as iso.bin.enc. I don't know why it does that. I think it's just a little bug in the program. But once you have your file, this is basically the Kingdom Hearts encrypted as an ISO bin file. So what we need to do now is go back to our PlayStation Classics GUI, and we need to go ahead and make our PKG. So I'm going to go to make PKG, or actually we're going to cancel, and we're going to add our icon in the background. So all we need to do is double click right here and find our pick one PNG. So here's the pick one PNG, and here's going to be the background. For our icon 0 PNG, what we're going to do is just put right here, and this is going to be our icon. Our game name is going to just be Kingdom Hearts 2 because that's the game name. If you wanted to change your name of it, you could just change it right here and then hit OK. And then what we're going to do now is go to make PKG, and we're going to find our iso.bin.enc file, which is this one right here on our desktop, and then just hit open. And then once you have all those stuff, if you have config, you could just hit cancel since we don't have any config. And now what it's doing is taking this iso.bin encrypted file, and now it's creating a PKG. So all we need to do now is just wait till it's done, and then we'll get our official file, and all we need to do is get our USB prepped and ready. So what I'm going to do now is just let it do its thing and get our USB ready. So what we need to do is go to our USB of choice and verify that it's on FAT32. So I'm going to right click over my USB drive, go into properties, and then right now we're going to see if our file system is on FAT32. So as showcased here, mine is already on FAT32. So if yours is on FAT32, you don't really need to do anything. But if your thing is on exFAT or NTFS, what we need to do is just hit cancel. And now what we need to do is go right click over and then hit format. Before even stating any of these steps, go ahead and back up any important documents or files you may have on your USB flash drive, because anytime you try to reformat your USB drive or hard drive, or this goes with anything in terms of technology, most likely it's going to erase all of your data fully clean. So right now, make sure you choose the highest capacity, go to NTFS, or if you want NTFS or exFAT, go to FAT32. For your allocation unit size, just go to default allocation. For your volume label, it doesn't matter. This is what the you label your USB as, and make sure you hit quick format and then hit start and then hit OK. And then once you hit OK, another window will pop up stating that it's successfully formatted, and then you'll be on FAT32. The only reason why I'm not doing that, since I'm already on FAT32, and it will defeat the purpose, since I do want to keep some of these files onto this USB drive. But right now, what I'm going to do is just let it do its thing, and then I'm going to pause the video once it's fully done. Alrighty guys, assuming that your process has finished, you will basically get your outputted PKG file. You'll probably get a screen that says okay, it's done. Just go ahead and hit okay out of that, and then just close out PlayStation 2 Classic. And now as showcased here is my PS2 game that's in PKG format. So we had our ISO that we converted, our original ISO, and we've converted to the encrypted bin file right here. And now we have the PKG that we need to transfer over via with our USB or FileZilla FTP client, depending on what method you want to do. So I'm just going to leave these files down here since they are not needed, and we're going to be focusing on this one file. But let's just imagine for a second, if I go into my properties, you'll see my game is 3.71 gigabytes in file size. Imagine that this game is 4 gigabytes. If your game is 4 gigabytes and you already formatted your USB to FAT32, it won't be able to basically transfer over, since any file that is over 4 gigabytes in size cannot transfer over to FAT32, and you'll need to use basically the FileZilla FTP Client process. If you don't know how to transfer files over with FileZilla FTP Client and Multiman, I will have a tutorial basically showcased right now on the screen, along with the card to showcase on how to transfer files that way. And then right now as well, I will show you in a directory where you need to basically put this PKG file at, so you'll be on the same page as I stated in the intro. But what I'm going to do now, assuming that your game is under 4 gigabytes in size, and this is basically the general process for most PS2 games, you could just copy the file over via with your USB. So as earlier as stated, we already formatted our USB drive to FAT32. All we need to do is just go ahead and take our game of choice and just drag it onto our USB. Now it may take a little while since this game is almost close to 4 gigabytes in size, and it does have a lot of files in it. So I'm gonna go ahead and pause the video right here. Once it's done, I'm gonna go and plug it into my PlayStation 3, run HEN, and then get it installed as a normal PKG file, and we're gonna play some Kingdom Hearts 2 today.
A few moments later.
Alrighty guys, so as showcased here, basically Kingdom Hearts 2 has successfully installed onto my USB. What we need to do now is just exit out our USB, go to here, right click over this, and eject our USB out from our PC. And now once that is done, we're going to go ahead and take that same USB, plug it into our PlayStation 3, and then we're going to go ahead and run HEN and install the package. So I'll meet you guys back onto the PS3. Alrighty guys, we're back onto the PlayStation 3 as showcased here. Assuming that you got your USB plugged in as well, we could go ahead and get started with this process. So first things first, of course, since we on HEN and we don't have a CFW PlayStation 3, we need to go ahead and run HEN first. If you were using a rebug CFW, all you would have to do is just install the package. But once HEN has enabled, you get the little notification as per usual. And now what we need to do is go into Package Manager, go to Install Packages, go to Standard, and then find our package of choice, which is Kingdom Hearts 2. Your game, of course, may be different. And now the game is installing like a normal PKG. So what I'm going to do now is just pause the video, let it do its thing, and then, come back once it's fully finished. Alrighty guys, as showcased here, basically my game has successfully installed. It did take a while for it to install, so depending on how big your game is, it can take a while. But as showcased here, here's Kingdom Hearts 2, and if you remember how we set up the icon 0PNG in our background, it's now showcased on a PlayStation 3, and now it has like, kind of a cleaner look to it. With that being stated as well, before you boot into your PS2 game and you do plan on playing it, you may want to set up a save, basically a memory card. And the way on how to do that is to go to memory card utility and then make one for the PlayStation 2. So as showcased here, all you would have to do is go create new internal memory card, go into internal memory card. You could do one for the PlayStation 1 as well, and here is the one for the PS2, and then here is the internal memory card for that. So it will set it up, and then if you have more than 1 and 2, you just have to assign the slots. Assuming if it's your first time doing it, you just gotta assign the slot 1 or 2. So by doing that, you just hit triangle, and if you want your stuff to assign on slot 2, then you could do that. If you want to do it on slot 1, you could do that as well. And then yeah, once you have that fully set up, all we need to do is just go ahead and boot our game of choice. One thing I do want to state before you know, this whole process as well, before we get into, you know, playing our PlayStation 2 title of choice, anytime you back out of the PlayStation 2 title, you will have to reinstall, or basically start up HEN again if you want to use any homebrew, because for some reason, I think once the PlayStation 3 boots into its PlayStation 2 emulation, it boots into another like syscall or something like that. I'm not too sure on the, you know, the technicality on it, but you'll just basically have to reinstall HEN after you quit out your PlayStation 2 game. It's just one thing that I noticed while, you know, doing this whole video in step. But right now I'm just going to go ahead and run Kingdom Hearts, and then I'm going to showcase it on the screen. Alrighty guys, so as showcased here is Kingdom Hearts 2 running on the PlayStation 3. What we need to do now is just some things I can show you in terms of the menu. All you have to do is hold down the PlayStation 3 button. If you want to reassign your controllers and stuff like that and enable like analog mode for certain games, you can. In terms of other settings, if you want smoothing on and off, which I do recommend since some PS2 games has an age roll, just go ahead and have smoothing on. If you want normal screen or full screen, you can also do that in these settings. Of course, you could reset your game if there's any issues, and then, you know, go into your software manual. But yeah, here is Kingdom Hearts 2, originally a PS2 game, running now on a PlayStation 3 that is using HEN. If you guys did enjoy this video, please be sure to leave a like and comment down below. If you're having any trouble on installing this or installing HEN, go ahead and join the Discord. But with all that fun stuff getting out the way, my name is Nagato. Hope you guys have an awesome day, and I'm signing out, and I'll see you guys in episode 5.
Nice and silky smooth.